Welcome back. We are talking about Steve Krakauer's new book, Uncovered, How the Media Got Cozy with Power, Abandoned Its Principles, and Lost the People. It dives into the world of journalism, spotlighting issues in the modern news industry and how certain stories can be distorted and censored completely. Steve is a media insider with years of experience. He joins me now. And Steve, it's great to have you.
Great to be here.
Congratulations on the book. In the book, you talk about the shift in media, especially just in the last few years.
Yeah.
I want to know what happened. It's amazing to me because so much of what you write about, these are stories that we all should agree on.
Right, right.
And yet, we don't.
No, and you're right. I mean, I was at CNN in 2013, less than 10 years ago. It was not that long ago. And I could say, I think there's valid criticism of CNN from 2013, but it completely, fundamentally changed in just a few years after that. By 2016, 2017, it was like a shell of its former self, editorially, journalistically. So what happened, right? It's really a modern phenomenon that happened here just in the last few years. And I think there's several factors that I lay out in my book, but a couple of them are the business model completely changed. And all of a sudden, the old way of doing things was no longer going to keep your audience. And I think that the executives, journalists felt that. There was real panic. And suddenly, independent upstarts, suddenly places were really impeding on their ground and drawing audience. That made them nervous, panic, and what do they do in response? They start to clamp down, censor more, and go against other viewpoints and try to push narrative over reality. And so that's just one of them. And then I think social media and some of the other factors had a real play as well.
Well, what about leadership? I mean, I was also at CNN before my time at CNBC, and I was at CNN when it was Ted Turner's CNN.
Right.
And this is an entrepreneur trying to do different things. This is in 1989, 1990. And when you've got leadership, an entrepreneur of Ted Turner, he's willing to push the envelope. He just wants truth. He just wants news all day long versus 20 years later, when you've got leadership that is talking about politics all the time.
Exactly, and I think that we saw that shift. CNN used to be the news. It was like just big news happens, you go turn it on, boring old CNN. That's just not the case anymore. And all of a sudden now, I think Trump had a huge factor in this. And I write quite a bit about Trump in the book and the way that it was business on one level, that he was good for business, and that led to bad decision making on the part of places not just at CNN but really throughout the rest of the corporate media, and also personal. Trump was someone who was friends with Jeff Zucker, who ran CNN, was at Trump's wedding, was connected with him at NBC through The Celebrity Apprentice.
Right.
It was personal also. This was this turncoat to the elite class that they thought he was a part of. And so then all of a sudden you're just seeing this decline. Bad decisions then beget more bad decisions. Mistakes never get corrected. No introspection when they get things wrong. And all of that leads to a real decline in trust from the American public.
I mean, I don't think we've heard an apology or a mea culpa on the Russia collusion lie from any of them. I mean, it was a made-up story, and for 4 years it divided our country hugely. And you never heard one of them say, you know what? We had bad sources.
Right.
We were wrong. Hunter Biden laptop, same thing. Have you heard any mea culpa? So, I mean, I think audiences would trust you and appreciate if you just owned it and said, you know what, my bad, I got that wrong.
100%. We see a total lack of introspection in the press. I write about some of those stories, the Steele dossier, Hunter Biden laptop is the first chapter in the book. You and I talk about things like the lab leak theory. That so many elements of COVID were just pushed under the rug, reported incorrectly at the time, or at least incuriously, at least show some curiosity, but instead automatically gets attacked. And I think it really is that the press themselves distrusts the public in a way. And so they have to clamp down on speech getting out there. And I think
they think the public is stupid. You're right. And you know what? I'm glad you mentioned COVID, because that's one of the things that I was referring to. Don't we all agree that a virus that killed 1 million Americans needs to be investigated? How the heck did this happen? And China won't allow it. So the media's like, okay, fine. No problem. On to the next thing. It must be natural.
Right. In the old days, the corporate press, this would be a huge story. This would be something that gets the entire newsroom excited about covering because it actually matters. This is really important for the public. It's a great, juicy story to dig into. Few and far between in the American media have been very interested in it. And you would think that would be something that's worth covering.
Same with Hunter Biden's laptop, right?
Yes.
I mean, don't we all agree that influence peddling is bad and we don't want the commander-in-chief to have have been taking in money that is going to compromise him for major decisions. You have an op-ed on Fox News, a Fox News op-ed about the media's handling of the New York Post's Biden laptop story. So what happened here?
This one, again, I think it's the biggest example of this, what I call the elite censorship collusion racket between big tech companies, government agencies, and the media in this case. And I write in the book, sometimes when you see media mistakes or media getting things wrong, it's just kind of laziness, incompetence. This one is not that. This one, there was a real effort to suppress this. And I have to say, it's one thing to suppress it. We saw, it was October 2020, it was politics, but then there's still no effort to get the story right, even though outlets like CNN or the New York Times have done some reporting confirming the laptop. As you mentioned, never any effort to apologize for getting it wrong at first, correct it for the readers. Instead, the Washington Post just last week was still pushing this through their fact checker column, covering for James Clapper and that ridiculous letter that he sent related to the laptop story.
All lies, and now he's trying to walk it back.
Right.
We know Clapper and Brennan were driving that Russia story as well. I like Chapter 9, broken financial incentive structure. Now, you say Twitter has been a complete disaster for the media. I want you to tell us why.
Multiple reasons, but I think two big ones is that when journalists spend all their time on Twitter, which is so unlike the rest of the people of the country, I mean, it's truly a bubble, that they get feedback mechanisms that a few hundred people say you did a great job. Okay, I'm going to do more of that. A couple, 20, 30 people say, start yelling at you on Twitter. Oh no, I need to pull back from that. It has a real chilling effect. I think that's one main one. And the other one is that they act it like it's their diary. And so all of a sudden, all these people that we kind of knew were maybe biased, but they're doing some pretty good reporting. Now all of a sudden you can see their every thought every single day that they lay out on Twitter. And on one level, you see a political bias, you see certain biases emerge, but you also just kind of have this new impression of them, and it's hurting the journalist credibility, but it's also hurting the credibility of their outlets. New York Times is doing some good journalism, but every single day they're undermined by lower-level staffers that are just destroying the name of the New York Times on Twitter, on display for everybody.
Well, they're all mad that Elon Musk decided to tell the truth about what happened, and it's exposed them all. It is a must-read, uncovered. Pick it up. Steve, congrats.
Maria, thank you.
Good to see you. Steve Krakauer. We'll be right back.